unmarked and abandoned. In that brief window, the physical trail went cold. The driver was Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. She left behind a fractured map of digital and forensic evidence that spans 2 decades and thousands of community-led investigations. The sheer volume of contradictory clues has made this one of the most exhaustively analyzed missing person cases in the country. To understand how a person vanishes from the side of a road in under 10 minutes, we have to look at the escalating stressors that were converging on Maura in the days before she left the campus. Maura was already navigating a precarious legal situation. She had recently transferred from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point following a disciplinary infraction and was under investigation for credit card fraud, a charge that was only set to be dismissed if she maintained 3 months of good behavior. On February 5th, while working a campus security shift, she received a phone call regarding her sister's recent relapse into alcoholism. Moments later, her supervisor found her in tears, describing her as completely zoned out and unable to speak. 2 days later, while driving her father's newly purchased car, she struck a guardrail on Route 9, causing $10,000 in property damage. Although the responding officer didn't administer a field sobriety test, the crash added a massive financial and legal burden to her existing anxieties. By February 9th, she began executing a series of deliberate preparations. She used her computer to search MapQuest for directions to the Berkshires and Vermont, and emailed her professors claiming she would be absent for a week due to a death in the family, a story that later proved to be a fabrication. The West Point incident, the emotional distress regarding her sister, and the destruction of her father's vehicle created a sequence of overlapping personal and legal vulnerabilities. These compounding factors set the stage for a sudden, unmonitored departure from her life in Amherst. On the afternoon of the disappearance, Maura withdrew nearly all the funds from her bank account, $280, and was recorded by surveillance cameras acting alone and uncoerced. She then purchased approximately $40 worth of vodka, Kahlua, and wine. The volume of the purchase suggested she was provisioning for several days. She packed her nursing textbooks and personal belongings into her 1996 Saturn sedan and began driving north into the mountains. She didn't inform any friends or family members of her destination, nor did she invite anyone to accompany her. While her preparations indicate a planned departure from the university, she left behind no record of where she intended to stay, leaving her trajectory entirely undefined when she reached the White Mountains. Around 7:30 p.m., the Saturn failed to navigate a sharp curve on Route 112 in Woodsville, New Hampshire, coming to rest against a snowbank in a region with no cellular reception. A local bus driver who stopped to help found her shivering but uninjured. She pleaded with him not to call the police, claiming she had already contacted AAA. Aware that the lack of cell service made her claim impossible, the driver drove to his nearby home and called 911. Between the 911 call at 7:43 p.m. and police arrival at 7:46 p.m., Maura vanished. In those unmonitored 10 minutes, she left behind textbooks in line. Crucially missing were her car keys, phone, and credit cards, the essential tools to survive. Believing the driver had simply fled to avoid a DUI charge, a common occurrence in the area, police did not immediately secure the site as a crime scene. This delay meant that tracking dogs and ground searches weren't deployed until weather and time had already degraded the evidence. 2 decades later, the lack of any financial activity, Social Security usage, or verified contact with her family has made the theory of a successful intentional disappearance statistically improbable. The death in the woods theory is similarly challenged by the environment. Extensive ground searches and aerial thermal imaging failed to find any remains, and more importantly, searchers found no footprints breaking the deep snowbanks that lined the road that night. This map illustrates the canine tracking effort conducted 36 hours after the crash. Using a scent from gloves found in the car, the tracking dog followed her trail exactly 100 yards down the asphalt before the scent vanished in the middle of the road. A disturbing digital artifact emerged the next morning when Maura's boyfriend received a voicemail consisting of heavy breathing and whimpering. It was traced back to a prepaid calling card issued by the American Red Cross. The abrupt end of the scent trail and the narrow 10-minute window suggest she entered another vehicle. This has led investigators to focus on a crime of opportunity. that a passing motorist intercepted her in the brief moments before the police arrived. In 2022, the case was entered into the FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, a database used to track motiveless disappearances and serial offenders, reflecting an official acknowledgement of potential foul play. The lack of official resolution has fueled a massive ecosystem of citizen sleuths. While their efforts have uncovered minor geographical details, the case has also highlighted the ethical friction between public analysis and the private trauma of the families involved. Without new forensic evidence or a confirmed discovery of remains, the case remains an open investigation, a record of a 10-minute window where a vulnerable individual met an unknown fate, obscured by the critical failure of the first 36 hours.